This episode is brought to you in part by the American Homebrewers Association, organizers of Big Brew for National Homebrew Day, which is this Saturday, May 4th. Celebrate the best hobby there is. Find a Big Brew event near you at homebrewersassociation.org. That's homebrewersassociation.org. And as an aside, Steve Wilkes and I will be brewing up a batch of beer in celebration of Big Brew for National Homebrew Day this Saturday at Steve's Brew Shop in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Come by and have a hot dog and celebrate home brewing. Welcome to Basic Brewing Radio for Thursday, May 2nd, 2019. I'm James Spencer. Here at Basic Brewing Radio, we're all about home brewing. This week we visit Core Brewing Company in Springdale, Arkansas as they go through some changes. Their initial strategy was to grow big and fast. Now they're shifting focus back closer to home and getting closer to the beer. And taking part in those efforts is our friend Jamie Conway, who's made the leap from homebrewer to lead brewer at Core. If you go to basicbrewing.com, you can find archives of our audio and video shows, our DVDs, our brewer's logbooks, and other basic brewing gear, including our tie-dye silicone pint and our brewing rainbow t-shirt. And you can hop on over to the newly designed basicbrewingshop.com, which is all mobile ready and everything, for a great new package deal on our DVDs. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Basic Brewing and find our show page on Facebook. We have a cool Basic Brewing app on iTunes and Amazon.com, and we're found all over the place where fine podcasts are served up. And if you do us the favor of rating us on iTunes and maybe leaving a nice comment, that will help new listeners to find us. And if you want to support us financially, check out patreon.com/basicbrewing. And thanks to everybody who's helping out in that way. If you go to patreon.com/basicbrewing, you can see a long list of stuff that you can access if you sign up as a supporter. Next up in the Basic Brewing video queue is a show we did on Steve's Schwarzbier. It's a tasty black beer with a little bit of smoke that was fermented at room temperature instead of lagering. And financial supporters will see an early release of that this Friday, and the rest of the world will see it on May 10th. A weird little bit of coincidence happened in connection with last week's show. If you'll remember, it was Hop Sampler number 9, and I made a reference to the Beatles' Revolution 9 off the White Album, number 9. Our favorite hop from that episode was El Dorado. Well, the evening after I released the show, I had a listen. Well, I might have had a beer, so it may have been a listen to Revolution 9 because I hadn't heard it in a while. And about 6.5 minutes into the cut, you hear this.
Financial imbalance. The Watusi. The twist.
El Dorado.
So how fun is that? I'd forgotten that was in there. El Dorado. Maybe some dormant brain cells were firing when Steve and I were picking that hop for number 9. I have to give a shout-out to Jamie Burnham out in Utah. Doug Wierzinski and I talked about her in the show before last, and Doug talked about sipping on a Pink Boots collaboration beer that Jamie took part in brewing at Roosters Brewing in Ogden, Utah. Well, Jamie heard that and sent me a 6-pack. It's called On Wednesdays We Wear Pink Boots, and it is delicious. It's a cold session India Pale Ale with all the hops added post-boil in the whirlpool and dry hop. I sipped a glass of it while writing this script for this show, so if I sound extra happy, it's to Jamie's credit. But a delicious beer. If you're in Utah, look for On Wednesdays We Wear Pink Boots, if it's still out there. It is very tasty. Let's use the beer-induced happiness to talk about our sponsor, Tavour. Tavour is a way to select delicious craft beers that you may not be able to find in your area and have them delivered to you. It's not a Beer of the Month club where somebody else chooses beer for you and they kind of randomly show up at your house. You only pay for the beer that you choose over the course of the month. Signing up for Tavour is free. Just create an account at Tavour.com, T-A-V as in Victor, O-U-R.com, and download their iPhone or Android app, and you'll receive notifications for 2 new beers each day that are available for purchase with in-depth tasting notes from Philip at Tavour. Megan from Tavour tells me that in May you should look for beers from Drecker, Jessup Farm, Thomas Hooker, Wild Mind, Unsung, and Trapdoor. If you're not interested in the beers that you see, no worries. Just skip the ones you don't want. However, when you do see something that you do want, and you will, don't wait. Just click on it to get it and add it to your crate. Your beer arrives fresh every few weeks, allowing you enough time to fill a box and pay the least shipping. So why don't you check it out? It doesn't cost anything to sign up, and there's no obligation to purchase anything. In fact, if I can ask you a favor, go to Tavour.com, T-A-V as in Victor, O-U-R.com, or download the app, and when you sign up, enter the promo code Basic Brewing, that's all one word, and you'll get $10 off your first shipment of $25 or more. Again, it's free to sign up, and there's no obligation to purchase. Sign up at Tavour.com or the Tavour app and enter Basic Brewing as the promo code. Let's take a look into the mailbag. Mike from Massachusetts writes, I just recently listened to an episode where you mentioned coming up to this year's conference up in Rhode Island. This will be my first, Mike says. My club, Merrimack Valley Homebrew Club, will be at club night. Hope to meet you in person. Sure, yeah, flag me down if you see me. Since we are contemporaries, I'd like your opinion for us middle-aged first-time attendees. How do you pace yourself so that a fun event doesn't turn into something regrettable? Well, thanks for the note, Mike. HomebrewCon in Providence, Rhode Island is rapidly approaching. June will be here before you know it. It has become a really big event, and it might be intimidating approaching it for the first time. So here's my sort of stock advice. My advice is to pace yourself and drink lots of water. And also don't forget to eat. Go into the conference knowing that there is more beer there than you would ever have a chance to drink, so don't try to drink it all. You might want to approach events like Club Night with some sort of a plan or a goal, such as finding the best of a particular style, or beers that you've never heard of before or haven't had before. And if the beer, if a booth, a homebrew club booth, say, doesn't have your target style, well, skip it, at least for now, and move on to the next one. Maybe come back later. But don't be afraid to call it a night if you're tired. Steve and I often sneak away early-ish to get some rest for the next day, because there's a ton of information to consume during the day along with the beer. And if you're tired all day, you won't remember any of it. So have fun, pace yourself, attend the sessions that you're most interested in. But remember, all the panels and sessions will be available later on homebrewersassociation.org. So if you miss something, don't worry. You won't be able to sample the beers that they serve most of the time at those sessions, but the information will still be there. So have fun, go with the flow, meet lots of people, sample some tasty beers, and just take care of yourself, and you're going to have a great time. Hope to see you up there. Speaking of great times, I'm going to be joining our friends and sponsors Desiree and Dave of High Gravity in their parking lot on May 11th for the Tulsa Beer Invitational. And I'm really looking forward to this. More than 30 Oklahoma breweries will be pouring rare and one-off beers. It's not just the stuff that you can get, every day in the liquor store. And homebrew clubs will be there, too, pouring delicious brews. And if you get a VIP pass, you can get in early and take part in judging the competition that will pit these fine brewers against each other in friendly jousting, as it were. You can find out more info about that at beerfests.com. Just search for Tulsa, and you'll find it on beerfests.com. While you're there at the festival, you can sneak into High Gravity to check out the awesome store and see the electric brewing gear that I keep bragging about. High Gravity's Warthog controllers take the pain out of propane. Whether you're a single-vessel brewer or go for the more traditional 2- or 3-vessel systems, from 5 gallons all the way up to 2 barrels, High Gravity has you covered. And High Gravity is a family-owned and run business. You know Desiree and Dave. You've heard them on the show. They're awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Tulsa Beer Invitational on May the 11th. Go to highdgravitybrew.com and use the code EBC75BB to save $75 off your electric brewing purchase. That's at highdgravitybrew.com. Okay, you've heard Jamie Conway on the show a few times now. He's a talented home brewer. He sent me a note saying he joined the Core Brewing team, and they're changing their company's focus. I like these kinds of interviews. I think they're great because not only are we getting tips on brewing better beers from these pro brewers, we're getting a peek at what it's like to go pro. After all, Jesse Core himself was a home brewer not too long ago, and we're also getting a look through this kind of microcosm of, these breweries that I'm talking to around my area. We're getting a look at how craft beer is evolving as a whole, as an industry. So let's go up to Springdale, Arkansas, to the newly redesigned tap room at Core Brewing Company. Well, Jesse Core, welcome back to Basic Brewing Radio.
Very excited to be back. It's a good time. Excited to be doing some fun things at the plant.
Who we got?
We've got our head brewer, Roddy Medina. We've got lead brewer, Jamie Conway, here with us.
Right, you go by Roddy?
Yes, Roddy.
And you go by Jamie, right?
Still Jamie.
Last time we talked to Jamie, he was making Monster cereal beers as a home brewer, and now he's here in the big time.
Jamie and Roddy both have a lot of creativity, and I love the fact they come from the home brewing world. I mean, I've been a home brewer since '92, and they bring a lot of creativity and passion to the company. It just resonates here, and resonates with our customers. And
we're in a beautiful, brand spanking new addition to your tap room. Talk about that.
Well, over the last year, we've decided that we want to get back to our roots. I mean, I went into brewing because I love making beer and love producing fun and innovative things. But somewhere along the road, I'd say we kind of lost our way a little bit, becoming a little more too focused on growth than the quality of our product. So over the last 18 months, we've been turning a corner on that, and the feedback's been great. So our attention is focusing less on more of the pubs, retail, and more on the heart and soul of our company, which are its brewers and this plant.
Yeah, at one point you had tasting rooms situated in a bunch of places. How many did you get up to, and how many different towns were you in?
We had 10, and we have reduced that down to Northwest Arkansas Airport, the brewery, Fort Smith, Little Rock, and Hot Springs. So we cut it in half, basically.
So you just felt like you were just kind of spreading yourself too thin at that point?
Oh, no question about it. It becomes managing pubs is very difficult. Managing that many people, it's very difficult. So I just felt like the best use of our energy was focusing on these innovative beers that you're going to be trying today, and returning our attention to what made us who we were in the beginning. So in essence, our campaign is just simply coming home.
And what sort of is it more difficult nowadays to differentiate yourself in the craft beer market? I mean, you've got a lot of competition now. When you started, I don't know, I can't remember how many other craft breweries were. There were 3 other craft breweries in the state, and now there's I don't know, countless, 50. No, there's a bunch more.
And that's great. I mean, at the end of the day, I love competition. I'm a competitor, and I think you'll see that Jamie and Roddy, they're competitors too. The more the merrier, in our opinion. Our focus now has become, we need to rise to the challenge. So when you see these really kick-butt beers coming out from competitors, we don't get bent out of shape about it. We just want to do a better job, because ultimately what we want is Arkansas to be a beer destination, and it could be. We just need to continue to raise the level of our game.
I think Arkansas is already becoming a beer destination, especially here in the northwest part of the state. So I've got 4 beers in front of me. Should I go from left to right?
Yeah, I mean, whichever one suits your fancy.
I see, what have I got here? Simcoe Beach Rat. What do we got, Roddy?
So this is a Simcoe Beach Rat. This has been the 5th iteration of this series, I wanted to take an approach where I can highlight a single hop, dry hopped beer basically. And we got really lucky with Simcoe this year. It's super juicy, citrusy, and not like the typical, iterations of Simcoe that were coming out. You were getting a lot more of that pine, that resin. But this batch that we got was insane. So we had to take that and brew a nice little pale ale with it.
I think a nice little pale ale is an understatement. This is a delicious, juicy beer. Lots of pineapple and mango. And talk about the process. I mean, how do you get a beer that's this nice and juicy?
So it's no secret now, that these New England IPAs are very high in high-protein malts. So with Simcoe Beach Rat and all the other beach rats, my grain bill was about 30% high-protein malts. And that's just a mixture of flaked oats and flaked wheat. And my favorite base malt right now is Simpson's Golden Promise. So we did that at a 151 mash temperature for 75 minutes and then onto the lauter tun. So not too intricate with, mash rest and sack rest, just, pretty simple and cut. We use a really not effervescent, a really expressive yeast on this beer, and we just let the dry hops shine. We don't use too many bittering hops. We just do one charge at 60, and then the rest is the yeast and dry hop, basically. So, yeah.
What do you think, Jesse? I mean, this is, we all know that these cloudy, hazy beers are just a fad, and and they're ruining craft beer. Or at least that's what Twitter is saying. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I have words to say for experts about that. I'm telling you, this thing is I've been riding the coattails of these guys since they've been here, and what I really want to just get out of their way and let them, like Roddy said, express their creativity. But one thing that's particularly cool about these guys is that they have thick skin. They want constructive criticism. As Roddy mentioned, this is our 5th iteration of the Beach Rat, and I tell you right now, every single one gets better and better and better and better. And where we're at as a company is if our beer doesn't make somebody go, wow, that's delicious, we dump it.
Down the drain.
We dump it.
Wow.
And, I'm a finance guy as well as a home brewer, and, that's like a turd in a punch bowl, dumping beer down the drain. But you know what? We have absolutely returned to what we believe in. And I remember doing that 8 years ago when we started this thing. It's so important that you don't try any beer out there that's not up to our level. And so we're returning to that. And so I'm 100% behind these guys and their efforts. So they're amazing guys.
And we're sitting in a tap room that, as I said, has been recently expanded. And Jamie, you were telling me that they put you to work here. They hired you, as a brewer here, and then you got out your carpenter's apron and you.
Yeah, I left the tool belt in the truck on Friday. Started here on a Monday. Needed my tool belt all over again.
So talk about this renovation. It's pretty incredible.
Literally from day one, we were up on the scissor lift painting these ceilings. I mean, this was just pure production facility, the previous Friday before I started. And I mean, as I told you earlier, in 17 years of construction before, taking on this job, this is probably one of my proudest moments and biggest achievements was this team coming together and pulling this off, because we had a pretty serious deadline that was given to us.
Sorry
And
about that.
yeah, when there's a billboard literally on the corner of the street that says, opening April 5th, you better be open April 5th. And we pulled it off. I mean, there was some very, very late nights and hard, long days. But, I mean, looking back, it's still, like, I'm still in awe every day I come in here that we managed what you did.
Well, it's great. The bar is very nice, and TVs and a performance space, and then that's in connection with the existing space as well. So this is coming back home.
We're back home, and now, and again, I mean, Jamie even understated the Herculean effort that it took from these guys and it was just unbelievable how they came together and pulled it. So it's like, hey, Jamie, can you come work for us and do some brewing? Next month, we need a whole month of you like laying floors, painting. But to his credit, again, he understands the importance of being at home, and he came in and had a great attitude. So that's what I'm excited about this team, is that this whole team that's taken 8 years to incubate this kind of talent of just great people. And so I haven't had this much fun since the beginning.
So, Jamie, this is your beer, this next beer.
Yeah, it's our beer. It was definitely a group effort. These guys let me take the recipe that I'd been kind of honing in my garage, and with you asking for advice and stuff like that along the way as well.
So it's all me.
No, yeah, no, but I mean, just
you guys may be team players, but I'm taking all the credit I can.
Getting feedback, and this was definitely not the first iteration of this beer, but being able to do something that Core as a company has never done, and these guys believing in me to do it, and Rodrigo and our other brewer Alton, helped me through the process, because I was still trying to learn this system, which is totally different than the old Blickman Brew Easy that I've got in the garage. But we pulled it off. We kettle soured it here. I think we sent it at like 3.3 pH. That we. It was, but we got it pretty sour, and then once we added the fruit, it kind of sweetened it back up a little bit. But that thing's got over 500 pounds of, it's got raspberries, blueberry, and blackberry in there, and I think it kind of equated to around 30 pounds per barrel.
It's like 42 pounds per barrel.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot, but that's where that beautiful color comes from, and it's a gorgeous beer. People, when you see it in the glass, people are asking, what is that? And, I'm super proud of it.
It is very nice. It's tart, but then there's a balanced sweetness in there that balances it out. I think that this could be an entry-level beer for people who don't know anything about sour beers or tart beers.
That's what a lot of people were saying. It was, it was very approachable, because the tart beers that we're used to are almost too tart for somebody that's just now getting into the style. So for us, we were like, man, we really wish we could have honed in on, made it a little bit more tart, but we didn't think of, the average palate is not accustomed to such high acidity. So, this was actually like a double-edged sword for us, because, we thought, we're like, dang, man, it should be a little bit more tart, but everybody else that had never had a sour, they're blown away because it was very approachable. So who knows? We might dial it down. We might just keep it the same.
We blew through 3 kegs on opening day, and so that's proofs in the pudding right there. And the people I've known for years that I haven't seen in a while have come back and like, man, what you guys are making is just it's cool. Mm-hmm. So I'm energized, no question about it.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's the thing with a sour beer, and I'm a sour fan. It's been a long time since I've said the word La Folie on the show, but the first sour beer that I encountered was La Folie from New Belgium, and that it smells like sauerkraut. And the first sip that I took, I thought, oh my, what is this? What have I gotten myself into? But then after the third sip, I was like, okay, this is really incredible. But it's super sour, and my wife wants nothing to do with it. But this is a very approachable beer that would not be intimidating for anybody, I don't think. So, well done.
The dudes were crushing that as well. We saw there was including myself. So I would agree with you though. There's we in Arkansas, we're continuing to evolve our brewing industry, and so I think this is another good step in the right direction.
It's multi-layered too. There's I'm getting a bunch of different fruits. It's kind of like a fruit salad. It's not like a one note. Right. There's some complexity in the fruit backbone as well. So what's the name of it, and what's behind the name of it?
Yeah, that's kind of a funny story. As I was telling you earlier, I think we had 13 or 12 or 13 boxes of the
42-pound bags.
42-pound bags of fruit that we were pitching, and part of this remodel is these freshly epoxied floors, and as I was throwing one of the bags of, I believe it was raspberry, into the bright tank, there's a little moisture on the floor, and the ladder gave way. So on the way down, I had the epiphany of naming this beer Falling Ladders.
Well done. So how did you?
But wait a minute. Roddy made sure though.
I made sure the beer, because we were dumping the fruit through the PRV. So as soon as Jamie fell off and saw him walking, I made sure that he was okay before I jumped up there. But leaving that beer exposed like that could lead to potential contaminants and whatnot. So my first instinct was to save the beer.
The business of brewing, it's a dirty game.
It's a blood sport.
He's upright. He looks like he's okay.
Yeah, I walked it off.
And it wasn't a huge, distance to fall.
It's a 12-foot fall. No big.
Yeah,
He's good. He's a young man.
It was only a 42-pound bag. No big deal.
Did you get a fruit shower from that though?
No, but it definitely went everywhere.
So what was your souring technique?
What we did was we mashed in, I think it's 60-40 Pilsner and wheat. It was kind of Berliner based, but we went a little bit higher because we wanted a higher ABV. This is at 6%. And then we pitched it with our house culture lactobacillus, which took, I think, about 17 hours to drop to where we wanted it to. And we started it on a Friday, so we were here late on a Saturday going through. After it was done souring, we did a full hour boil and went through Whirlpool and all that. But it was definitely fun to do on that system. And we have so much volume in the tank that keeping that temperature, which we wanted at about 110 degrees, is where I've found that the lactobacillus is really happy doing its thing. So we were able to maintain that without really having to baby it like I do at home. And we hit it with the CO2 blanket, covered it up, and came and checked it the next day. And we were actually surprised that it had dropped so low in such a short amount of time. So we just decided we put our brew boots on and toughed it out, and took another 4 or 5 hours late into Saturday and got it into the fermenter.
You got to listen to the bugs.
That's right.
The base was delicious. I mean, even before the fruits, I was blown away with the base as well. So these guys brewed a really a technical and delicious beer.
And so I've got a what I think is part of a small batch based on the base, right?
Yeah, it's the exact same beer. Before we started adding the fruit in the bright tank to Falling Ladders, we had some peach puree, and we just added that straight to some of my homebrew kegs that I had brought, and we threw peach puree, some vanilla, and there's actually a couple hop, or I guess you can call them like tea bags, that are in the kegs that have cinnamon sticks in them. So this is something we're planning on doing a summer of sours and doing a different variation throughout the summer. And this has got such good reviews from the people that we've let try it that I think it's going to be the next one that we release.
It's very nice, very nicely balanced. The peach brings more of an impression of tartness, I think, than just the berries. You can definitely get the vanilla undertone, and I'm not getting so much cinnamon, but it's probably in there.
Yeah, that's something that we're going to address. We just got some cinnamon at a local store, and I think when we do scale it up, I'll probably go purchase some Vietnamese cinnamon that's a little bit more aromatic and will kind of shine through a little bit more. I've used it in the past with other beers that I've done, and I really like it, so we'll probably go that route so that the cinnamon's a little bit more present.
Wow. I don't know. I wouldn't mess with it too much. It's pretty dang good. No, it's very nice. And so this, Roddy, have you played with these kinds of styles before, or is this all Jamie?
I haven't, no, and that was one of the things with Jamie, that really impressed me was his approach towards kettle souring. I mean, I can't really drink too many kettle sours or sours in general. I get really bad heartburn, so I tend to stay away from them. But I love them, and I love I can appreciate the technique and all the patience that it takes to make these. But no, like a year ago, if you would have asked me, would we be doing a kettle sour like this, I would have never thought we'd be making this kind of beer. But here we are, playing with these small batches.
Yeah, they're very complementary in their styles and very supportive of each other. So I just, again, I'm going to go back to the fact that as brewers, we all kind of have our thing and what we really like. And it's just, they work very well together, including Alton. And we shouldn't leave Alton out of this mix. And because Alton is a heck of a fine brewer. And so it's good to see these guys working together and producing some fun stuff.
Yeah, we really all just learn from each other, Everybody thinks, brewers, we must be crushing big, hazy pastry stouts all the time. But the reality of it is you can only have one or two of those before you're buzzing really hard or just really full. So what sets it all back is Alton's take on lagers. Alton used to brew in Texas, and he has some really good recipes for lagers. And his Bach recipe that he had was amazing. We're all very collaborative in the sense that I can tell him, hey guys, maybe we need to knock down that chocolate malt a little bit, or you can do this and that, brew a better beer.
These guys don't get their feelers hurt if there's constructive criticism, and that honestly is a talent. I mean, I've been around a few brewers that, if you give constructive criticism, they get bent out of shape. And but for me, I like these guys are coming to me. I'm like, it's really good. Well, what can we do better? What can we do better? What can we do better? And I think that's why we're just going to continue to see the quality improve.
And you've got your canning line in house, and you can be nimble with putting out these beers and doing short runs or small production runs, or is your strategy changing such that you can be kind of more nimble in the marketplace?
No question about it. That is our strategy. We are focusing more on less volume and higher quality. And I'm not saying even with our lagers, just because it's a lager doesn't necessarily mean it's got to be of a lesser quality. And Roddy will talk a little bit more about our lager process and how I feel like we're pretty unique in that space. But absolutely, that is what we're returning to. You've hit the nail on the head. We're coming back. Part of our coming home is not just physically to our location, but coming back to what I believe made us successful in the beginning, which is kick butt beer.
Well, the lagers can really make you or break you. I mean, they're pretty unforgiving.
Yeah, the lagers are very delicate beers, and especially since we've taken kind of a bold step to actually decoct all our lagers. And all the lagers that we've brewed since last year around GABF time, we've just taken a different approach and always trying to tweak grain bills and letting them sit there, for 8 weeks at least before we move into the bright tank. Once we've cropped out all the yeast, we let our Helles, we've got some fresh Helles in the fermenter right now. Lagers are definitely unforgiving. If one small thing in the temperature spike and just, not letting it do its diacetyl rest, things like that could completely ruin the beer. So people think, lagers, I don't know. I think there's just a really misconception about lagers. Lagers are really, really delicate beers.
And it was cool because we always hear about malts, and even the malts we use, they're already modified malts, and decocting is not necessary and all that stuff. They proved me absolutely wrong. The process that they've been using to produce these beers, it's more labor intensive, it's harder, takes longer. I can tell you, I can be very critical of our product because I'm very passionate about what we do. Hands down better than what we've ever done before. And in large part, this is because the extra care and effort that's going into the process.
What am I drinking here?
So that is our Helles. It's the Warthog. It's a 5% ABV. I believe that's on the, what is it? IBUs. It's like 16. No, it's lower. I think it's lower than 20. I can't think off the top of my head. But we use Tettnanger for our bittering hop, and it's all Weyermann German malt. It's all Weyermann Pilsner. I think there's some Munich in there. We decoct all our lagers, and I could definitely tell a difference between a decocted Warthog and a non-decocted Warthog. It's just a lot more complex, and I don't know, it just makes the beer better. I believe I think it's easier said than done whenever you're like, oh yeah, this is decocted, this one isn't, but it truly, I think it does make a difference.
Made me a believer. I mean, again, being the finance guy, I'm like, so you're trying to tell me we're going to take another month on this thing when we need to be selling beer? And proof's in the pudding. I liked it okay before, and now I'm drinking almost every day and getting a huge gut.
Well, I'm with you there, buddy. No, I've got a Helles on tap at home, but it was brew in a bag, and 60-minute boil and no chill. So I went into the no chill and I didn't lager, and so it's a delicious beer and very drinkable, but it's not nearly as complex as this. You say this is less than 20 IBUs?
Yes, let me double check real quick.
Because it's not an astringency, but there's a bite there that I would think would be IBUs, but it's probably something to do with the decoction process. It's nice. It's got a crispness that makes it extremely drinkable.
Yeah, so the IBUs on that are 13.
Wow.
Yeah, super low on the IBUs.
Wow. What do you think, Jamie?
I think it's really good.
I like to drink it a lot.
I'm honestly not a huge lager guy, or haven't been in the past, but it's definitely one of the beers that's been growing on me, and I find myself, when I have the post-shift beer, has been one of my go-tos lately.
Did you like that? He said that like in a singular way. Post-shift beer. Oh, okay.
Well, they have beers of all different sizes here.
Exactly.
It's the same glass.
That's right. It's an 84-ounce glass. It's a post-shift beer.
I'm just having one glass. I've refilled it a few times, but it's the same glass. Drink responsibly. No.
That's right. Always.
No, it is delicious. And what's the ABV on this?
It is a 4.7.
Oh, wow.
So sessionable, which when you're getting a 6-pack of cans for the river or the lake or whatever.
Helmet.
For your beer helmet.
Yeah, that's good. Is that too much? Was that too far?
It was definitely PG.
I'm sorry.
That was PG.
Yeah,
We're okay.
I'm
We're
still
okay.
as immature as my kids make fun of me all the time. God, Dad, you're so embarrassing.
That's your job.
That's right.
If your kids aren't rolling their eyes at you, you're not doing your job.
That's right. I try hard enough.
It would be hard to pick a favorite because they're all very different. To pick a favorite out of these four, it would be kind of like judging a best of show, in that you're judging beers based on different characteristics. It's like, how do you compare a nicely decocted lager against a juicy Simcoe beer? And then you've got the fruited sours, and so I like them all.
That's very cool.
So very nice. So what's on the dream board?
Boys?
The dream board. Well, like Jamie was saying, we're going to kick off our series this summer of the Summer of Sours with our peach cobbler. So you got to try that small batch version of it. So we're going to scale it up, and then we're going to have kegs of it available. As far as seeing can production, we're still waiting on that. If we do something with cans on that, it'll probably tap room only, just 50 cases or so, just because we can't jeopardize shelf stability with so much fruit. Without jeopardizing, quality of the beer. But yeah, we've got that. We've got some lagers coming out. I know Jamie's working on a milk stout.
Yeah. We've got the intention of trying to do, at least 2 to 3 new beers a week. I mean, not a week. I'm sorry, a month. Sorry, Jesse. Jesse almost had a heart attack.
Almost barfed.
A month that we're going to release here out of the tap room, but just to kind of try different things. We've got a hazy IPA in the fermenter right now. Rod's got a Czech style pils that's lagering. I mean, we've got stuff that's coming down the pipeline, and then we've got a whole list of things that while we're brewing, we call it brewing and bitten when we're always joking back there, and coming up with new ideas. And what's awesome about here, and Jesse especially, is that he just kind of, as long as we're making good beer, and he seems to let us kind of do our thing and shine, man. So
I just try not to let them in public too often. Yeah.
So by that, he brought the public to us.
They're a lot of fun. I mean, they always make me laugh. But I tell you, they work really hard. We all work very hard, but it's we have to mix in a lot of fun. So some of it's a little too unruly for your fine guests. So we'll
So if Jamie came to you with an idea for a monster cereal beer,
I'm in.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, as long as it's good, man, they're happy to let us put it out, I think.
I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say you can announce the thing with Hertz Donuts.
Yeah, well, that's something one of our sales guys, Nick's been working on. You know, the Hertz Donuts there in Fayetteville. We're talking about a collab with them, doing, throwing some donuts in the mash, and we might be kind of basing it off this sour, where they're going to throw us some of the jelly filling from that they would put in the jelly donuts, and we're going to kind of riff on a jelly donut with the Berliner and kind of do some kind of pastry.
I just get out of their way and go. I absolutely love it. I think it's so fun because, one, I think we like to be supportive and collaborative with our community, and I just thought it was a cool idea. So win or lose, man, I think we're just going to keep going for it.
What the heck? Oh, and I forgot. I was going to say you could do it on one of the pilot systems that you've got back there, but you, as I understand it, have been instrumental in helping to establish some educational opportunities.
Yes. Patience is certainly a virtue. I've been working on this thing for 6 years with the university. I've had, in fact, I was there today at Food Science, no less than 37 meetings with faculty over the last 6 years, and credit to
Roddy's having to go. Thanks, Roddy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry I got to bounce. I got to go pick up the wife.
Where are you going? You haven't punched your clock?
I have a concert to go to in Tulsa.
See, that's not acceptable. Don't worry, I'll dock his pay.
Cool. Yeah, I was going to say lax leadership right here.
Hey, but
nice.
Next time you're around, you should come up here and brew with us or something. Do a collab with, your podcast.
He's trying to make you hoe the grain for free is what that is. It's like, come on in, man. Here's a brew.
Yeah, I'll be here in August.
That's the best time.
We'll let Jamie do all the graining out.
There you go. What else is new?
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Cheers. All right.
So
I wanted to give him props.
No, man. Well, I've really. I don't know how to express it. I've had so much fun. We're back to doing what we love doing. That's being a craft brewery more so than a business, and that's what's so fun.
But I derailed you. But you're working on an educational opportunity with the University of Arkansas.
And so my thought was that 7 years ago, realistically, we didn't have a lot of talent in Arkansas. So we're having to try to bring it in or try to train somebody. And so I started working on a curriculum with U of A on how could we incubate talent that could immediately be helpful in the craft brewing industry, come out of the program and be ready to work for the most part. And so Dr. Steinmetz, the chancellor, is a supporter, and that's what it really takes. It's went through 14 different levels of educational bureaucracy, but it's done. It's been approved. And so now it's just a matter of finalizing the steps. But it's going to be a rigorous program, most importantly, because we need the candidates that come out of this to help make Arkansas one of the destinations in the state. And so there are going to be prerequisites before you can even get into the brewing certificate program: a biology, a chemistry, a certain amount of mathematics that you must. Basic mathematics, so that way when you get into the brewing program, you can come to our facility and apply what you've learned as a part of internships. So what we hope is, let's incubate some amazing talent here. And then, I hear often, why do you want to create competition for yourself? Well, a rising tide raises all boats. And what we want to do is make Arkansas the place for craft beer.
Very nice. Yeah, I was in until you got into the chemistry and math part, and then I was like, I'm
you can do it, man. You can do it. I bet you already know 99% of the chemistry involved for this program. So, and ideally, this is not just for traditional students, and that was a part of the work we've done for non-traditional students that perhaps are not a biology major or a chemistry major. Somebody has just basic understandings of that, so they can be a great brewer.
Well, I know that the students at the university consume a lot of beer. It's about time they started giving back.
Well, you wouldn't believe how popular this course already is. When it got released, then it was just the feedback's been tremendous. So I'm really bullish about Arkansas craft beer over the next 5 years.
Very nice. I'm glad I remembered that. Well, guys, I appreciate the opportunity. Jamie, I appreciate your sending me a line and saying, hey, we're doing fun stuff. Come and check it out.
Yeah, I'm glad you took me up on the offer because we're really proud of what we've done. We're very proud of the beer we've been putting out, and, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming down the pipeline, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Hey, don't be a stranger. Come back and see us soon.
Open up one more location just in Prairie Grove.
We need to just get. Hey, you got Uber these days. You can come out and hang out with us. We'll send Roddy to go pick you up.
Hey, there that? Now you're talking.
No, we appreciate what you do, and it's just a fun time. I mean, it's not craft beer is going through some growing pains nationwide, but we're going to come out of this smelling like roses.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Cheers.
Well, thanks again to Jesse, Roddy, and Jamie. Those were some tasty beers. And I also took home a growler of their Hefeweizen, and it was spot on. Nice levels of banana and clove, very tasty and drinkable. So I'm looking forward to seeing and tasting what this new chapter will bring for Core. And I'm grateful to Jesse for helping to get the brewing education program started at the University of Arkansas. And I'm hoping a lot of great beers come out of that, too. If you have brewing questions, show suggestions, or just want to say howdy, write to James at basicbrewing.com or just fill out the contact form at basicbrewing.com. And please don't forget to tell us where you're from. Thanks to everybody supporting us through our Patreon page. Special goodies coming your way. Check all that out at patreon.com/basicbrewing. It's all until next time. Until then, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm James Spencer, production help for Basic Brewing Radio and our website, including the newly redesigned basicbrewingshop.com. All that's provided by Kelly Dotson. Basic Brewing Radio is a production of Active Voicing. We'll talk to you next time, everybody. So long.